Chosen one, anchor your spirit to every word I am about to say. That question you've been carrying in silence, the one you've been afraid to say out loud, stop running from it. The universe heard you. It heard you when you whispered it at night. It heard you when you stopped asking because you were tired of waiting. It heard you when you convinced yourself you had imagined the whole thing, that maybe you were never meant for the life you keep seeing in your mind. And it sent you here. Not tomorrow, not next week, today. This message, this moment. I know what the last 72 hours have felt like. Something has been building beneath the surface, not loud, not dramatic, but relentless, like a current pulling at your feet in still water. Maybe you found yourself standing in the middle of a room this week and forgetting why you walked in, and in that blank pause, the question surfaced again, the one that never fully goes away. Is this actually going to happen for me? Or maybe it was quieter than that. Maybe you were lying in bed last night staring at the ceiling, and something in you just whispered, I need a sign. I just need to know I am not wasting my time on a dream that was never real. And then you found this. You feel like you are standing at the edge of something massive, but you cannot see the ground beneath you. You have been faithful. You have done the inner work. You have held the vision even when the vision felt like foolishness. And still the silence has been deafening. Still the door has not opened. Still the evidence has not arrived. And in that silence, the enemy has started whispering a very specific lie. Listen to your thoughts right now. He is telling you that the people who are winning were simply chosen differently, that the universe has favorites and you are not one of them. He is replaying every moment you tried and fell short. That conversation that did not go the way you planned. That opportunity that evaporated before you could reach it. That version of yourself you worked so hard to become and still feel like you are only halfway there. The accuser is telling you that the sign you asked for is not coming because the universe is indifferent, because God is silent, because the dream was never real. But I need you to hear what the truth actually says about this moment. Romans 8:31 says, if God is for us, who can be against us? Not who has been against you, not who might be against you in the future. Who can be? Present tense. Absolute. That is not a comfort verse. That is a legal decree. It is the universe issuing a verdict on every force that has tried to stop your assignment. And if the entire weight of heaven is positioned in your favor, then what you have been calling silence was never silence. It was orchestration. The heaviness you feel is not evidence of abandonment. It is the weight of arrival. It is what it feels like when everything that was scattered is being gathered, when every delayed piece of the promise is being moved into position at the same time. You are not being forgotten. You are being assembled. Think back to that moment this week when you almost gave up on the asking, when you decided the sign was not coming and you started to make peace with a smaller version of the life you know you were built for. You did not know it then, but that surrender was not defeat. That was the moment you released control long enough for the universe to move. That was the act that cleared the channel. You did not lose faith. You graduated from grasping to trusting. And that graduation just activated everything. The enemy is working overtime right now for one reason and one reason only. He knows what this week carries. He knows that the person sitting where you are sitting, feeling what you are feeling, is standing at the exact threshold where everything changes. And his only strategy is to make you believe you missed it, to make you believe the sign already came and you were too distracted to see it, to make you doubt whether you are even the kind of person the universe would bother sending signs to. That is the lie. And you are done believing it today. It all shifts now. The waiting, the wondering, the ache of holding a vision that has not yet shown its face in the physical. It shifts not because time ran out, but because you have done what most people are never willing to do. You kept the flame alive in the dark. You asked again, even after asking felt foolish. You are here, right now, when something in you could have scrolled past. That is not luck. That is alignment. You did not find this message by accident. No algorithm placed this in front of you today. The universe did. This is a divine appointment written into the fabric of your timeline before you ever knew you needed it. You are not stumbling through your life. You are walking a path that was mapped with intention, and this is one of the coordinates. Do not leave this message before it is finished. Your future self is standing on the other side of the next few minutes begging you to stay, because what you are about to receive is the confirmation you have been asking for, in a language your spirit will recognize before your mind catches up. In the next few minutes, I am going to hand you the exact evidence the universe has already placed inside your own life that proves this is your season. I am going to show you the moment this week that you misread as ordinary but was anything but. And at the end, I am going to give you the declaration that seals this as the turning point, the moment you stop asking for a sign and start walking as someone who already received one. If everything you just heard landed in your chest before your brain could explain why that was not me, that was God confirming something He has been trying to say to you for months. But confirmation without action is the most dangerous place a chosen one can be, because the enemy does not attack those who stay asleep. He attacks those who are one step away from waking up, and that is exactly where you are right now. The inner sanctum was built for this moment, so you wake up every morning to a fresh word from God spoken directly to your spirit. The link is in the first pinned comment. You will know if it is for you the moment you see it. Because here is the truth that silences every lie the enemy has whispered in the last 72 hours. The entire universe is not watching you to see if you fail. It is rooting for you to win. Every force in the unseen realm that is aligned with your highest good has been working in the gaps you could not see. In the delays, you called setbacks. In the silences, you called rejection. In the moments, you called wasted. Nothing has been wasted. The sign you asked for is not somewhere ahead of you waiting to arrive. It arrived here, in this message, in this moment, in the fact that you, out of every video and every scroll and every distraction available to you today, stopped here. That is not coincidence. That is confirmation. You are not behind. You are not disqualified. You are not forgotten by a universe that is too busy for your particular dream. You are chosen. You are seen. You are being rooted for by forces far greater than the ones that have been opposing you. And this is not the beginning of the story. This is where it turns. You didn't stumble onto this video by accident. And if you've been waiting for confirmation that what you're carrying inside of you is real, this is it. Everything we're about to walk through together is laid out in even greater depth in the book Chosen One, a guide written specifically for people like you who feel the weight of a calling they can't quite name yet. If that's you, the link is in the description. But right now, stay with me, because what comes next might be the most important thing you hear all year. Because here's what no one tells you about being chosen. It doesn't always feel like honor, like a crown gracefully placed upon your head. Instead, it often feels like a profound and unsettling isolation, a silent chasm separating you from the very people you walk amongst. It feels like you're the only one who truly sees the hidden threads of destiny, the unseen currents shaping the world, the only one who cares with a raw, unyielding passion and carries a weight so immense it feels almost unbearable. You are a lighthouse in a dense fog, beaming a truth that no one else can quite perceive, and in that solitude, the world often fails to reflect back the deep, resonant truth you know about yourself. This disconnect, this profound lack of external validation, creates fertile ground for doubt to take root and flourish in the quiet corners of your mind. You begin to question every whisper of intuition, every sudden surge of insight. Was it all just wishful thinking, a vivid dream spun by an overactive imagination, masquerading as a divine assignment? This wondering, this slow, insidious erosion of certainty is not just a minor setback. It is the most dangerous adversary a chosen one can face. It's not the monumental failures, nor the fierce opposition from external forces that truly cripple you. It's the silent, internal sabotage of doubt, which corrodes your conviction from the inside out, making you question the very core of your divine identity and purpose. There's a sacred, often misunderstood reason why the wilderness always precedes the promise. It is never a punishment, a divine reprimand for some perceived failing. Rather, it is an essential phase of preparation, a divinely orchestrated crucible designed to forge and refine you. Yet, the enemy of your destiny, that insidious whisperer, understands this dynamic perfectly. He knows that if he can just convince you to misinterpret your wilderness season as abandonment, as a sign that you've been forgotten or forsaken, you will invariably walk away from the very place where heaven is meticulously building and fortifying you for your greatest work. Consider Moses, who spent an astonishing 40 years in the desolate desert before the paradigm-shifting revelation of a single burning bush. 40 long years. And in that vast expanse of time, there is no sacred chronicle of visions, no audible voice from the heavens, no public confirmation of his calling. There was only the relentless silence, the shifting sands, and the humble, often monotonous work of tending someone else's flock. Many who read this account might conclude that Moses's wilderness years were a waste of time, a prolonged period of stagnation. But heaven, in its infinite wisdom, never wastes a single moment, never a single experience. Every year spent under the scorching desert sun, every quiet evening watching the stars, every simple act of guiding sheep was meticulously calibrating something deep within Moses that the grand palace in Egypt, with all its splendor and power, could never impart. The palace offered him a position of worldly authority, a title, a place in society's hierarchy. But the wilderness, stripped bare of all external validations, gave him something infinitely more profound. It gave him presence. It cultivated an inner stillness, a profound connection to the divine, and an unshakable resilience that only solitude and hardship can confer. You cannot effectively lead a multitude through their own wilderness seasons, through their own trials and uncertainties, if you have not first learned to navigate and survive the profound depths of your own. The wilderness is not an empty space. It is a sacred classroom, a testing ground where faith is matured and true leadership is humbly born. So, if you currently find yourself in a season where it feels as though absolutely nothing is moving, where the wheels of progress seem stubbornly stuck, understand this profound truth. Stillness is not the absence of progress. On the contrary, sometimes it is the most profound and advanced form of it. It is the time when roots are growing deep, unseen, preparing the magnificent bloom that will one day burst forth. But here is where this understanding goes even deeper, touching the very essence of your being. It's not merely that you are being prepared in the waiting, it is that the waiting itself is an intense, transformative test of your fundamental identity. When the external confirmations cease, when the exhilarating momentum of early promise slows to a crawl, when the voices of those who once championed you fall silent and the applause fades into an echo, what then truly remains? Who are you in the stark, unvarnished truth? When no one is watching your performance, no one is offering a single clap, and nothing seems to be unfolding according to your carefully laid plans. That, my friend, is the real piercing question the universe is asking of your soul. It's not an inquiry into your capability, can you succeed, but rather a deeper probe into your core being. Do you truly know who you are even when every outward circumstance suggests that you won't. This inquiry seeks the unwavering truth of your inner spirit, unbound by the transient nature of achievement or validation. This precise moment is often where most chosen ones lose significant ground, not during the dramatic, high-stakes moments of overt betrayal or catastrophic crisis, which, though painful, often galvanize the spirit. Instead, the loss occurs subtly, insidiously, in the ordinary, monotonous, and utterly unremarkable days. It's in the quiet, mundane hours when they begin to unconsciously agree with a diminished, incorrect version of themselves, a version crafted by past disappointments and societal pressures. They start shrinking, not physically, but spiritually and emotionally. They begin to apologize for their inherent gifts, their unique perspectives, their very essence, as if these sacred endowments were burdens or inappropriate expressions of self. They start editing their grand, soul-stirring dreams, whittling them down to a size that feels less audacious, safer, more palatable to a world that often dismisses the magnificent. This reduction is a self-imposed limitation, born from the raw vulnerability of wanting something fully, wholeheartedly, and intensely, and yet not having it manifest in their present reality. To stand in that space of profound, unfulfilled longing, naked before the universe with your deepest desires, is arguably one of the most courageous and vulnerable places a human being can exist. It is here, in this exposed space, that the seeds of self-doubt can either wither or be transformed into unshakable resolve. And what's coming next will likely surprise you, because it's the very thing that is hidden, a radiant gem, within that seemingly fragile vulnerability. The profound act of desiring something deeply, something that resonates with the very core of your being and for which you were meticulously crafted, is not merely a wish or a fleeting fancy. It is, in its purest form, a sacred act of prophecy. Desire is not a sign of weakness, a lacking, or a flaw in your constitution. No, authentic desire is a potent and unmistakable divine direction, a compass needle firmly pointing towards your true north. When the Creator of all things places a longing within your heart, a persistent, unshakable yearning that refuses to be extinguished no matter how many times life's harsh winds attempt to blow it out, no matter how many external voices tell you it's impossible, that is never a mere coincidence. That, my friend, is divine intelligence actively operating through the sacred conduit of your deepest longing. Think of Hannah in the temple, not just uttering formal prayers, but pouring out her soul in gut-wrenching, agonizing weeping. Her desire for a child was so consuming, so raw and visceral, that it appeared as madness, even intoxication, to the people around her. Eli the priest, observing her intense anguish, mistakenly judged her tears as a sign of drunkenness. And yet, heaven, with its omniscient gaze, read her correctly. Her profound longing was not an indicator of spiritual lack or a desperate plea from an empty vessel. On the contrary, her intense desire was the very announcement, the prophetic prelude of what was about to come into being. The sheer intensity and unwavering nature of your desire, that relentless spiritual hunger, is not random. It is perfectly proportional to the magnificent magnitude of what has been specifically assigned to your life's purpose and destiny. So, for the love of your soul and the fulfillment of your divine blueprint, stop shrinking the dream. Stop trying to want less, to dull the keen edge of your longing, solely so you can mitigate the potential sting of hurt and disappointment. The colossal size of what you are carrying within your spirit is not an accidental oversight. It is a meticulously designed, intentional aspect of your unique and sacred assignment. Embrace its grandeur. Now, once you truly grasp and integrate that profound truth, you are ready for this next revelation, a pattern that runs like a hidden river through the lives of every single person chosen for something monumental and significant. Yet, it is a pattern that is almost never openly discussed, rarely illuminated in our narratives of success. It is the often disorienting pattern of misidentified seasons. You see, without exception, chosen ones almost always experience a period, sometimes prolonged and intensely challenging, where their very gifts, the unique anointings and talents they were born to express, appear to work directly against them. The very essence of what they were made to do, their authentic expression, creates intense friction, unexpected resistance, or even outright rejection from the people closest to them, the very ones they expected to understand and support them most. Consider Joseph, whose vibrant, prophetic dreams didn't just earn him a comfortable position. They provoked such envy that they led to him being brutally thrown into a pit by his own brothers, creating a deep, agonizing fracture in his family. David's sacred anointing by Samuel, a clear divine designation as king, did not immediately usher him into a place of elevated power and honor. Instead, it painted a target squarely on his back, forcing him to flee for his life, to hide in caves, living as a fugitive from King Saul. Paul's blinding, transformative revelation on the road to Damascus, meant to ignite his apostolic calling, did not instantly swing open doors of opportunity. It first closed every single door he had previously known, forcing him into a season of isolation and rebuilding. And this maddening, often disorienting reversal, this counterintuitive pattern where the very anointing that promises blessing seems to attract intense opposition rather than immediate opportunity, is not, I repeat, not a malfunction in the divine plan. It is, in fact, a sophisticated and divinely engineered filter. Not everyone, by divine design, is meant to be in the room when the glorious breakthrough finally manifests. And heaven, in its sovereign wisdom, possesses a masterful way of using the immense pressure of rejection, of disappointment and alienation, to reveal with crystal clarity who was truly invested in the journey for the inherent benefit they might gain from your success, and who was genuinely there for the sacred bond of true connection, for the unwavering relationship itself. This process of sifting and separating is painful, yes, but profoundly necessary to protect the integrity of your calling and the purity of your future inner circle. Stay with me, because what I'm about to share next is the absolute pivotal insight, the key that finally breaks this often agonizing cycle of frustration and perceived stagnation. Because there is something insidious, something deeply rooted beneath the surface of all that rejection, all those closed doors, all that silence, which most chosen ones never examine closely enough. And tragically, this unexamined truth is costing them infinitely more than they realize. It is the subtle, often unconscious agreement they've quietly made with the pain of disappointment, not a conscious, loudly declared pact, certainly not an intentional surrender of faith. But somewhere along the arduous path, after enduring a relentless succession of closed doors, after experiencing profound periods of divine silence, and after absorbing enough soul-wearying disappointment, something profound and detrimental shifts internally. A defensive mechanism clicks into place, and you subtly stop expecting. This isn't because you've stopped believing in God's existence or in the overarching reality of destiny itself. No, your faith in the divine might remain intact, but expecting something specific, truly hoping for it with an open heart, and then being repeatedly met with disappointment, has simply become too emotionally costly, too draining. So, you meticulously develop what outwardly appears and feels like peace, or even a profound sense of spiritual surrender. But if you're brutally honest with yourself, beneath that veneer, it is actually a carefully constructed wall of protection. You might label it surrender, or perhaps contentment with your current lot. But in truth, it's a calculated distance, an emotional withdrawal cleverly dressed up in seemingly spiritual language. And the profound reason this self-protective posture is so dangerous, so detrimental to your journey, is because heaven, in its divine economy, responds fundamentally to faith, and genuine faith, by its very nature, demands active expectation. You simply cannot step fully and unreservedly into the magnificent breakthrough and the destiny that has been meticulously prepared for you, while simultaneously protecting yourself, even unconsciously, from the vulnerable possibility that it is truly real, truly imminent, and truly for you. It's like trying to drink from a river with your hands clenched tightly shut. This, my friend, is the hidden route, the subterranean current that quietly undermines so many magnificent destinies. This is the invisible struggle that nobody sees from the outside. You are still showing up, still fulfilling your spiritual duties, still confessing the right words, still going through all the outward motions of a person who genuinely believes. But inwardly, deep within the sanctuary of your own spirit, you have unconsciously constructed a ceiling, an invisible, controlled distance between your present reality and your ultimate breakthrough, all because the sting of hope, the pain of expectation, has deeply wounded you before. This internal architecture of protection, while understandable from a place of past hurt, ultimately limits the very flow of divine manifestation you yearn for. But here's the part you probably didn't expect, the insidious twist in the narrative of spiritual warfare. The enemy, that ancient adversary of your soul, doesn't need to completely derail your faith in God. He doesn't need you to abandon your belief in the divine creator. No, his strategy is far more subtle, far more surgical, and terrifyingly effective. He merely needs you to stop believing in what God specifically said about times you. That, right there, is the narrowest and most devastatingly effective point of attack, because a person who still ardently believes in God, who attends church faithfully, who prays with sincerity, who encourages and uplifts countless other people, but who has quietly, subtly, stopped believing in their own unique calling, their own personal destiny, will continue to exist within the spiritual realm, yet will never fully step into the magnificent purpose for which they were created. You become a powerful vessel, a conduit capable of carrying streams of living water for everyone else, pouring out blessings and encouragement, while paradoxically you are quietly, internally dying of thirst yourself. And that, I want to be unequivocally clear, is not humility, nor is it noble sacrifice. It is a profound, festering wound masquerading as spiritual virtue, a self-imposed spiritual drought that prevents you from receiving the very sustenance you provide for others. The universe, in its boundless wisdom and intricate design, has always been rooting for you, actively conspiring on your behalf. Every synchronicity that made you pause, every uncanny coincidence, every moment of inexplicable clarity that pierced through the noise of your daily life, every time you woke at 3 in the morning with an undeniable, unexplainable burning in your chest, a sacred fire of purpose, none of that was random, none of it was chance. That was alignment, that was heaven, with its infinite grace, attempting to capture your attention, to remind you of your sacred path, and the undeniable fact that you are still here, in this very moment, still watching this message, still searching for deeper truths, still hungry for something more profound, something beyond the superficial that is not desperation. That, my chosen one, is pure, unadulterated discernment. You possess an innate knowing that there is more, precisely because their times is times more. And the single most powerful, transformative thing you can do right now is to cease treating that profound inner knowing like a heavy, burdensome weight, and instead begin to honor it, embrace it, and treat it like the divine compass it truly is, guiding you infallibly to your destined purpose. The breakthrough you have been so patiently, so ardently waiting for doesn't need more time to materialize. What it needs, what it truly demands, is more of you, more of your willingness to be fully present, fully vulnerable, fully engaged. More of your courageous surrender, of that cautious, protective version of yourself that has been so expertly managing the pain of past disappointment, shielding your heart from further perceived harm. It needs more of your unwavering trust in the one who intimately knew your name, who intricately wove your destiny into the fabric of creation before the very foundation of the world, and who declared with eternal certainty, "This one is mine. This one I have chosen." It requires a bold, unreserved step into that divine claim. The profound shift, the true turning point, begins right here, not when external circumstances miraculously change, not when people finally, belatedly, see and acknowledge your worth, not when the long-awaited doors finally swing open. No, the shift begins here, in this sacred moment, in this profound internal recognition that your chosenness was never, not for a single moment, in question. The only thing that ever wavered was your belief in it. Reclaim that belief now. Place your hand firmly on your heart. Feel the rhythm of your divine pulse, and declare this truth out loud, letting its resonance fill every cell of your being. I release every single agreement I have made, consciously or unconsciously, with disappointment and disillusionment. I release the cautious, diminished version of myself that learned to want less, to dream smaller, solely so it could hurt less. I declare with absolute certainty that I am not abandoned, I am not behind. I am not forgotten by the Creator of all things. I am chosen not because of anything I have done, any accomplishment or merit, but purely because of what I was uniquely made to carry, what I was divinely purposed to bring forth into the world. I open myself fully, completely, unreservedly to the magnificent calling on my life. I will no longer protect myself from my own breakthrough, for I understand that my protection was also my limitation. I trust the intricate, often mysterious process that has been shaping me, refining my spirit. I trust the perfect, divine timing that has been holding me, preparing me for this very moment. I step forward now, not in a naive certainty of the outcome, for that is not mine to know, but in the unshakable certainty of the one who spoke my destiny into being before time began. The universe is unequivocally rooting for me. Heaven has not changed its mind about me, and therefore neither will I. My resolve is now aligned with the divine. If this message reached something deep within your spirit today, don't let its powerful resonance end here. Share it with one person, just one, who desperately needs to hear that they haven't been forgotten, that their calling is real. Drop a comment below and tell me what is the one thing, the singular breakthrough you are believing for right now, because your declaration in the comments isn't just words, it's a tangible step in faith, a public affirmation of your trust. And every single step in faith, no matter how small, counts immensely in the grand scheme of your destiny. Subscribe and stay close, because everything that comes next in this series was meticulously made for exactly where you are on your unique journey. You are not here by accident. You never were.